Nobody seems to be out there listening to each other. Isolation, it's considered to be the greatest enemy of mental health. There's many things that have contributed to that factor. The work habits, the dissolution of family, the mobility of people. Contact is ever more needed to respond to the tremendous isolation.
The support network person. You give them the name and number, and then the support network will take care of it.
Because of the fact that our 24-hour is very unique, live, with no message tapes and no diverters. That is so unusual. Plus, we have the tremendous amount of resources in our computers. We have thousands of data of all community resources, in fact 6 county information. The prerequisites for a volunteer are to be open, accepting, non-judgmental, and unflappable. We have trained over 1,000 people, and they all say it's the best thing they did for themselves. It increased their personal growth. It enhanced their relationships at home and at work and at school and at church. And people come back to us 20 years later and say those skills they learned in contact they still use.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Our purpose is to help people reflect on their problems. We listen, we help offer alternatives, loan them our strength, help them get in touch with their own inner resources to resolve their own problems. And people then can move from the crisis intervention mode to a state of more balance in their life and more personal relationships.
I was having dinner with Diane and her husband here at our home, and we were chatting about the senior center, and I was looking for something to do with my computer, so I went over to see her, and I had never visited the senior center before then. The opportunity is for the senior center. They're getting what they need, and I get to play with my machine and create new flyers, create a new publicity for them every month. We've done several hundred of these over the last 2.5 years. There's corrections. I take things over, and sometimes I don't quite proofread it, or there's a change comes up, and so then it's just back over, a few moments on the computer, and 20 minutes going back and forth. So that's the time, really. But it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable.
Several years ago, Becky Morgan came and talked to us about the children's shelter and how these children are really victims, and they're there for no reason other than they're not able to stay at home and they have nobody. I tried to think of something that we could help them more than once a year. And so I thought, well, I'll put a barrel in the library, and I got permission from Marianne Wallace, and so we put it on the landing between the children's and the adult sections of the library. And last year, the people of Cupertino have been so generous that we collected 55 bags of clothes and bags of regular toys and games. I think it was 5 bags of shoes and lots of stuffed toys. And I check it once a week, and I take it home and sort it. And when I have a carload, I take it down to the children's shelter. Hopefully I'm helping the children. That's what I think about is these poor kids that with no fault of their own are in these circumstances. So I enjoy helping.
They all call me the historian if they want to know something about Cupertino. It is very important to get dates and names correct. the ones that are around here know the history. We know that it's wrong, or, you know, and it should be corrected. My brother was president of the Historical Society, and I think he got together with the city of Cupertino to write this column of roots because he wanted to preserve our history. And this is my 5th year of doing it. I have lots of people come up to me, people that just moved into the community, and they said, "Oh, I read your article, it's great, keep it going." So besides the newcomers, the oldcomers enjoy it too. Cupertino is recognizing people for their extra steps, and I will continue to do my extra steps and to inform the community about what has happened and maybe some of the future.
There are many opportunities to volunteer. Certainly the need is there. And if I'm not willing to do it, I shouldn't complain if somebody else doesn't. And I also didn't want to miss the council. I didn't know whether I would or not. And I felt like it would be very unfortunate indeed if I had decided not to run and then wished I had. So I thought, well, I'll just be very busy doing other things in the community and not really associated with the city except peripherally. And so that's the way it's worked out. It seems to me, at least for myself, that the gratification comes when you see some change for the better that you've had a part in doing. Maybe you can't do it all yourself or don't. But if you can see that things have been improved because of something that you and others have done, I think that's about as much as anybody should need.
You just never know. I mean, I know three husbands that are out of work right now, that you just, you know, it just happens. And I can't think of anything worse than having children that you aren't able to provide for, especially at holiday time. I know people are hungry all year, and we do serve during the year whenever we can, but I would think it's especially awful at holiday time to not be able to give your kids a gift or to have enough for a holiday meal. And that's sort of what we do.
Especially the toddler toys.
This program serves the families in the Cupertino Union School District and the Fremont Union High School District, which is approximately a 10-mile circle from where we are right now at Sarah's school. So that means that 421 families were in such need of help at holiday time that they actually came to a basket program. And unfortunately, it's, except for 1 year, always gone up. We just have a good time doing it. I mean, it sounds kind of hokey to say that, but it is. It's an enjoyable thing to do, knowing that you're helping someone else.
I work at a research firm up in Palo Alto, and I have a year's leave from there. And so I came over to the school and essentially asked about opportunities to help out somewhere here at the school. And they were in the process of putting together plans for getting a tutorial program started, which sounded like a very exciting prospect to be involved in. And I think it's very important for schools now to have support from parents wherever they can get it, because as their resources are cut back more and more each year, in order to maintain the kind of programs that they're trying to offer, they need to get all the assistance they can. I think the most significant achievement is watching the number of students coming in to the tutorial center grow. It seems to be meeting a need out there.
The idea really started back in about 1950 or so. My father was doing it for the Sisters of Notre Dame and students of our local Catholic high schools. I think this was about 1964-65 that the Lions Club started. It became the Fish-a-thon, and it's grown ever since. Every year it just seems to grow more and more and more, and does a better job, gets more people out. Basically what I do is I do the dirt work that's here. I furnish the crews. It takes probably a crew of 3 or 4, about 2.5, 3 days work with equipment. But I've got a good crew that really just jumps right in and gives me a hand. When all I got to do is say, Fish-a-thon, and they're here in the evenings and Saturdays, and we get it done.
Jim and I moved here 25 years ago and raised our 3 sons, Jim, Rob, and Chris, through the Cupertino School District. So we were involved with soccer and Little League and then PTA, so started when the kids were young and just have been busy in Cupertino. We love the city, so that's why we enjoy doing it so much. This year we are going to be helping over 22,000 people, and because of that, we need to have more funding, more fundraisers to be able to handle it all. So that is really our major goal this year, is to raise our funding, to get more funding so we can help. I was on a committee for the city, American Disabilities Act, to try to get the city up to code. And since then, just this last week, I got a call from De Anza College asking if I would be on their committee for the American Disabilities Act. I'd love to play golf before now. I wouldn't even have time to play golf because I'm so busy doing other things. And I think I just fully appreciate how much you can help other people, because when I was in the hospital, so many people came to visit me and befriended me that I figured I can turn around and help others by doing the same.
Nobody seems to be out there listening to each other. Isolation, it's considered to be the greatest enemy of mental health. There's many things that have contributed to that factor. The work habits, the dissolution of family, the mobility of people. Contact is ever more needed to respond to the tremendous isolation.
The support network person, and give them the name and number, and then the support network will take care of it.
Because of the fact that our 24-hour is very unique, live, with no message tapes and no diverters. That is so unusual. Plus, we have the tremendous amount of resources in our computers. We have thousands of data of all community resources, in fact 6 county information. Our purpose is to help people reflect on their problems. We listen, we help offer alternatives, loan them our strength, help them get in touch with their own inner resources to resolve their own problems. And people then can move from the crisis intervention mode to a state of more balance in their life and more personal relationships.